there is a concerted and organized effort on the social justice Christian side of this debate to control the opposition. They are attempting to control and frame the conversation according to their terms, which would, of course, give them the advantage. And I just wanted to point out two ways that that is happening currently. This is something that's ongoing. The first way that the social justice Christians are attempting to control the conversation is they're attempting to poison the word cultural Marxist. And what I've seen on Twitter and elsewhere is people saying things like, well, cultural Marxist is just a racist term. It's just kind of a replacement term for like the N-word or something like that. And that really cultural Marxism was an idea invented by the alt-right. So you don't want to be like the alt-right, right? So don't use that word. People have said social justice warrior is sort of the same thing. It's more like a racist term. And honestly, you can bet that if they are getting triggered by you using the cultural Marxist word, that's probably, they view that as an effective strategy, and so they don't want you to use that strategy anymore. The reality is that cultural Marxism is not an alt-right only idea. That's not where it comes from. Let's just be honest about that. And I would say that if you don't know what cultural Marxism is really, and you don't really understand it, then I would stop using the term because you might be using it inappropriately. But as long as we're using it appropriately, it's an effective tool to sort of describe a set of beliefs that are all related. And so I recommend that we continue to use that word where appropriate. When it's not appropriate, obviously don't use it. But when it is appropriate, you identify cultural Marxism for what it is. So do not fall for the attempt to sort of control your language. That's a trick. That's a strategy that they're tending to use. And if you notice, a lot of times, different bloggers and different people on Twitter will kind of attack the same areas. And this is one that's being attacked right now. They really don't like being called cultural Marxist. So I say keep doing it. The other way that this is happening has been very recently. I've seen this, and I'm not saying that this is new, but I've noticed it very recently. All kinds of blog articles and tweets and various types of commentary around the idea of anonymous people online and the criticisms received from anonymous people. And they've almost made it seem like being anonymous online is like a sin. They're saying that this is a sin issue, so there should be no Christians that are critiquing anybody anonymously online. And I would agree with them in one sense. There should be no anonymous charges. In other words, if you're accusing someone of some kind of sin against you, you can't be anonymous. That's not how it works according to Scripture. The Scripture says that you have the right to face your accuser. So no anonymous accusations in that way. But anonymous critiques, is that a sin? I'm not so sure that it is, to be perfectly honest with you. And you're seeing a lot of this, where it's like, well, if you critique me and you're anonymous, I don't have to listen to you. You're just a troll. And now, first of all, that's not a sin, so let's not pretend that it is. If you're an anonymous person out there, that's not a sin. What I would say, though, is if you're in a situation where you don't have to be anonymous, I think it's more powerful to not be anonymous, to put your name out there and all of that. I think that's more powerful for people to see that you're a real person and that you have a real name and that you really do care about these issues. I think that's very powerful. However, do not be shamed into putting your name out there if you're in a position where you think it would be harmful to you. There's no reason to fall for that. They're trying to shame you into saying your name, or to just stop commenting altogether. That's really what ultimately it is. They don't want you to comment and criticize them anymore, and so they're attacking your methods and saying, oh, you're anonymous online, so you just must be a troll. No. That's not how it is. I know why people are anonymous. People are anonymous because social justice warriors are known for trying to ruin your life if you oppose them. Have you ever heard of what doxing is? So I have a feeling that a lot of the people that are kind of criticizing the anonymous Twitter people, they don't know what doxing is. See, doxing is this social justice warrior strategy where they figure out who you are using a variety of technical methods, even if you're anonymous, and then they put all of your information out there, and they call your employer, and they attempt to get you fired, and things like that. That wouldn't be a thing if it was totally safe to be out there, and there didn't need to be any anonymous people. Doxing wouldn't be a thing. That's why people are anonymous. They don't want their lives ruined for their opinions. And so that's the reality here. So let's just be honest about it. all this call for, don't use the cultural Marxist term, don't be anonymous. This is just an attempt to control the opposition. You can bet that the social justice Christians think that the anonymous critiques that they're getting are very effective. Otherwise, they wouldn't be trying to shame you into, revealing yourself or something like that. Again, I think if you can be upfront with your identity, go ahead and do it. I think it's effective. But if you're in a position where you can't, people have attempted to ruin your life before, and they'll try to do it again, then I say continue to be anonymous. There is no sin in it. Don't make accusations against people that they've sinned against you if you're anonymous, but continue to critique them. You can bet that they find that very effective, or they wouldn't even be talking about it. So there is no shame in it. And after all, what's the difference between a Twitter troll and a respected blogger? Probably a couple hundred words in your personal agreement. That's the difference. That's the difference. There is no real difference between a blogger and a Twitter troll, except for the fact that you agree with one and not the other, and the other one is a little more wordy than the one and not the other. So, look, don't slander people, don't lie about people, don't make accusations anonymously, but critiquing, totally fair game. Critique away.